What's the first thing you should do when you have or suspect that you have an injury when it comes to running? And I'm going to get to this right away so you don't have to watch this full video, but stick around if you want to hear my explanation of this. I believe the first thing you should do is ask yourself and explore how tight you are in certain areas of your body. And this has been massively valuable for what I've done. There was this race I did, or not really a race, I guess it was more of an event, where I had a group of friends, and what we did was no rest November and sudden death December. And what that was you run a 10K every single day, no days off in November. And then when you get to December, you add 1 kilometer on each day progressively until there's one person left. And so December 1st is 11K, then 12K, then 13K, then 14K, right? And I made it till January, I wish I could remember the specific day. It was the first or second week of January, and I ended up, my last day was something over 31 miles. It might have been like 33 miles, something like that. And I took second, so I didn't win. I ended up feeling like I was getting an injury, and I was traveling to Mexico at the time, so it's kind of difficult to be running in Mexico without my gear. But that being said, I obviously beat up my body a lot, right? And one of the things I started to notice was like runner's knee. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's just like a pain or some sort of sensation in your knee. And, it's typically caused by running. And I originally got a brace to try and fix this, and I ran into my running coach while I was running, and he happened to be on the same trail, and so we walked and talked for a minute. And I talked about how he'd gotten a brace, and he was like, honestly, Reese, those braces are not the greatest thing, because if there's a root of the problem that is not addressed, so like a brace kind of compensates for that, if that's the case, then you're never fixing that problem, right? Our bodies are built to run. And so what was the issue that was going on structurally that maybe I could fix? And maybe there was an action, like in injuries, let me be clear, with injuries, there can be a legitimate reason, right? Like something torn, broken, for sure. Though his point was, if that's not the case, and there's some other factor and you don't fix that root issue, well, when you get back to running after taking time off, you are still going to run into that same issue. I was like, that's pretty interesting. So I started thinking about what other things could cause this runner's knee issue. And I thought of either strength, maybe I wasn't strong enough, or 2, maybe I was too tight and not flexible enough. And so what I found is what was really going on was my quad and IT band was incredibly tight from all this volume I had put into it. I wasn't really stretching a whole lot, just briefly after every run, but not like some specific focus. And so I started squashing the crap out of my quad, and really I was doing a little bit of strength training too for like my tibialis muscle and my lower leg and calf. And I ended up working on those 2 things, but really focusing on stretching, and the runner's knee went away. And I didn't have to take any time off, which was kind of interesting and changed my mind, because I thought it was some structural issue. And when I started stretching and was still running, I didn't really take time off. Maybe I didn't run as much as I could, but I was still running every day at the time. I fixed it when stretching. And so if you're running into an issue, obviously there's so many injuries that can happen. One of the things to ask yourself is, are the muscles around the area, or are there certain things that are too tight that need to be addressed? And to me, it made sense with this runner's knee, because as I stretched my quad, it started to loosen up and I didn't feel the pulling or that sensation anymore. Think about it. If let's say your quad's tight, just so tight, and it really needs to be stretched out and really get it to a more malleable form, of course it's going to be pulling on your kneecap, right? You got the quad muscle, and if all of this is like tight, it's going to be pulling on your knee. And so this changed my mind forever when it comes to injuries. I had a different knee issue, and what I found when I went to a massage was that I had a massive knot right above my kneecap. And so when we got that worked on and I used the massage gun on it more, that knee thing went completely away, again, without taking any time off. So it's something to address. I'm not saying this is going to fix everything, but this is such a big part in a lot of runners' injuries. When you're just too tight, your muscles and tendons and ligaments are going to be pulling on things, so of course it hurts. I mean, it only makes sense, right? A rubber band can, stretch too much, or if it's just so tight, then like or if it's being stretched too much and pulling away from something, right? A tight knot here pulling things away from the knee could absolutely be a factor. So something to consider, and if you need help with stretching, I talk about this. I'm a certified yoga teacher. So consider hitting that subscribe button, or maybe if you just want to hear more running stories, tips, and tricks, definitely subscribe. If not, that's totally fine too. I hope this content is valuable for you, and I appreciate your time if you're taking the time to watch this. So that's my opinion on the first thing you should do. There may be other things to do after that if it's really not a tightness issue. But if it is, I think you can get a lot ahead of a lot of these injuries or prevent them in the future. So I appreciate your time, and I hope that helps. I look forward to seeing you on the trails sometime soon. Peace.